Hello to everyone, my name is Jonathan. I created this video so that you can understand all about my face-to-face PTE exam preparation classes in Singapore. However, even if you're not thinking of attending any PTE classes, this video will help you to know more about how to prepare by yourself and what good PTE preparation involves. So anyway, my IELTS and PTE classes have helped over 450 people pass their IELTS and PTE exam. These are some of my class pictures over the years. I've been teaching face-to-face classes for over 10 years and PTE for over 5 years. And you can go to this webpage, pteuniversity.com/student-results, to read all 450 plus actual WhatsApp messages of those who passed their PTE and IELTS exam after taking my class. Or go to this webpage, ieltsuniversity.com/writing-improvement, to read IELTS writing testimonials specifically for those who failed their IELTS writing before attending my class, but passed after using my IELTS essay writing materials and templates. Okay, so here's what I'm going to share about my classes in this short video. Firstly, I'm going to tell you a bit more about myself and my experience in teaching IELTS and PTE so you know who is the teacher of this class. Secondly, I'm going to talk about what my PTE class package consists of. Lastly, I'm going to touch on what makes my PTE classes different from other PTE classes. So if you're considering whether to attend my class or to attend other PTE classes, make sure you watch this so you can make a good decision. Alright, so let me share a bit more about myself and my experience in teaching PTE and IELTS. Firstly, I'm a 5+ year PTE specialist and 10+ year IELTS specialist. I first started teaching English in 2003 in Colombia. I also taught in Australia and China. Then from around 2012, I started to specialize only in IELTS exam preparation. I started IELTS University and have taught in my own school since then. And then 5 years ago, I started to also specialize in PTE exam preparation and started PTE University. Now, before I continue on, I want to mention about the PTE versus the IELTS exam. I've been teaching IELTS for 10+ years and PTE for 5+ years. The IELTS exam is the much more established and accepted exam in the world, and probably about 5 to 10 times more popular than PTE, although PTE has been growing faster over the last few years. In Singapore, the demand for IELTS preparation classes is still much greater than the demand for PTE classes by quite a bit. That's why I teach IELTS every Sunday, but I only have a PTE class intake every 2 to 3 months. The most common question I get about PTE is, which is easier, PTE or IELTS? So I want to address this for a bit. Here's a table of the difference. PTE has 20 tasks, 5 for speaking, 2 for writing, 5 for reading, and 8 for listening, whereas IELTS has about 4 to 12 different tasks, depending on how you define tasks. 4 for listening, 3 for reading, 2 for writing, and 3 for speaking. PTE is marked completely by an algorithm, artificial intelligence, whereas IELTS is marked by human examiners for the writing and speaking. In the PTE exam, there's no interaction with any human as you're in front of a computer. Whereas for IELTS, you do interact with the speaking examiner. For PTE, because it's marked by AI, people in the past used to be able to trick the AI. For IELTS, the examiner's standard of marking has been quite consistent as they are constantly evaluated and you can't trick a human examiner. Here are my thoughts and conclusion. I teach both IELTS and PTE, so I don't have any bias or reason for choosing one over the other. Based on my teaching experience and also from opinions and experiences of others on the internet, PTE was probably easier in the past because one could trick the algorithm. However, I believe things are different now because 1, AI is constantly evolving and methods that have been used in the past to trick the algorithm no longer work. 2, there's great incentive for Pearson to get things right and ensure that their algorithms are not susceptible to being manipulated. 3, countries that accept PTE for immigration, for example, Australia and recently Canada, would never continue to allow PTE to be used for immigration if things haven't changed. I think a reasonable conclusion from all of this is that these days, PTE is probably not easier than IELTS. I know many people, immigration agencies especially, continue to recommend that their clients take PTE over IELTS because of past experiences, and in the past, PTE probably was easier than IELTS because the algorithm could be manipulated. People recommend things based on the past and don't always recognize change has happened until some time passes. Therefore, many people are still recommending PTE over IELTS because of the past, and it will take some time before they realize that things have changed. So which exam would I recommend? Supposing that I am right in the fact that PTE is no longer susceptible to manipulation like in the past, I would then recommend IELTS over PTE for two reasons. One, IELTS has fewer tasks than PTE. PTE has 20 tasks, and that's a lot of tasks to work on. I think IELTS is much more straightforward. Two, some PTE tasks are extremely difficult even for a native English speaker. For example, describe image, retell lecture, summarize spoken text, etc. Furthermore, for the essay, you only get 20 minutes in PTE instead of 40 minutes in IELTS. Ultimately, however, each person has to make his/her own decision. A few more things I want to say about all this. I am in contact with both IELTS, I'm a partner of IDP Singapore, and PTE, and I communicate with them regularly. What I want to stress here is that you should not trust the opinion of just anybody on the internet. There's a lot of nonsense and untruths being shared online and on YouTube, etc. Okay, about the PTE exam, not just about how to trick the algorithm, which probably doesn't work anymore, as I've already mentioned, but also about which tasks are important and which are not, and how the scoring system works, etc. One person says it, and other people just repeat it. PTE doesn't reveal a lot of things to the public, so there's a lot of speculation going on. Also, there are many famous websites that offer PTE mock tests and give you a score too. This is completely nonsense because only PTE has the algorithm. Every other website is just faking it. If you want to know your true score without taking the actual exam, go to PTE Score Practice Tests. Each practice test costs about $35, but it's better you get the correct score directly from PTE and thus know your true level than a made-up score from other websites. Do note, I'm an actual teacher who has taught IELTS and PTE in Singapore for the past 10 years. These are my students. I don't hide behind the website. Please don't just trust anyone online when it comes to your PTE and IELTS preparation. Secondly, over 450 people have passed their IELTS and PTE exam after attending my classes. As I've already showed you, you can go to this webpage, ptuniversity.com/student-results to read their testimonials. Or go to this webpage, ieltsuniversity.com/writing-improvement to read the IELTS writing testimonials specifically. Thirdly, I'm a partner of IDP. The IELTS organization is co-owned by three organizations, University of Cambridge, IDP, and British Council. So IDP is a co-owner of IELTS. I am an official partner of IDP, and I've also taught IELTS for them before many times. Furthermore, IDP has referred many people to my own IELTS classes. Fourthly, I'm the recommended IELTS and PTE teacher for many immigration agencies and even other ESL teachers who do not teach IELTS and PTE. And lastly, I've also trained ESL teachers to become IELTS and PTE teachers. Various schools have asked me to train their own teachers because of my experience and specialization in IELTS and PTE preparation. So let's get to what my PTE classes actually consist of. There are 4 face-to-face classes, although there's also an online version available. Just contact me for more details. But I'm going to focus on my face-to-face classes. The classes are on Saturday from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. There's about a 20 minutes break in the middle. I will be covering all 20 tasks from all the 4 skills: speaking, writing, reading, and listening. Okay, and my classes address both PTE Academic and PTE Core General. and it's also for UKVI and non-UKVI PTE. There's also free makeup classes. Almost all my students work, so I understand if sometimes because of work commitments they can't make it, they just need to tell me and I'll give them a free makeup class. Do note that my PTE class intake is once every 2 to 3 months only. However, I teach IELTS every Sunday. As I mentioned, the demand for IELTS is so much greater, so I can teach it every Sunday. With my classes, you also get 250 plus pages of very detailed study notes covering all 20 tasks. These are extremely detailed notes. One of the main reasons why I decided to specialize in IELTS and PTE preparation and start my own IELTS and PTE school is that when I was teaching in other schools, I used all the well-known IELTS and PTE textbooks, but I didn't really like them as they didn't really help my students much. So I started to develop my own very unique and effective IELTS and PTE preparation materials, but wasn't able to use them at the schools I taught. So I decided to start my own school instead, first specializing in IELTS preparation, then also specializing in PTE preparation. Take a look at this. On the left are general instructions and information from most IELTS textbooks on how to write an IELTS essay. The information is so general that it doesn't really help students much. This is pretty much the same for PTE textbooks. On the right is what my IELTS students get. I give them 50 plus pages of IELTS writing essay templates, which address the different essay question types they'd encounter, the structure and organization for each type, and a lot of words and phrases and sentences for them to use to help them write their IELTS essay. Essay templates are essay structures with pre-written, that is prepared beforehand, high-level phrases, so you just need to fill in the blanks during the exam. Actually, what you see here is the above version I gave my students around 10 years ago. The latest version is 50 plus pages in length and so much better and more detailed. This is how it looks like. My essay templates are actually one of the most unique things about my IELTS and PTE class. It has helped hundreds of my students pass IELTS and PTE. Do note that the writing component, the essay in particular, is the most difficult component in IELTS and PTE, and many people struggle with it, but my essay templates have made it so easy for my students. For example, Irel here got 6.0 for writing before my classes, but after attending my class, she got 7.0 for writing. She said that she just followed my pattern in writing, that is, my essay templates. Eileen failed writing twice before attending my class, but after my class, she passed her writing and said that she just followed my templates. Andy failed his writing 15 times before attending my class, even though he attended 3 other IELTS classes. After learning from my IELTS essay templates, he finally passed. Do note he got 6.5 for 15 times before taking my class. You would think that going from 6.5 to 7.0 in writing is not that difficult, but actually it is. Even just a 0.5 increase can be a huge challenge for many. Winston failed his writing 8 times before attending my class, and then he finally passed. Joyce on the left and Boomer on the right also failed around 7 or 8 times before attending my class, and then they passed after. For all these people, the writing component was the one that prevented them from passing IELTS. That's why I've spent hundreds of hours over the last 10 years creating my IELTS essay templates and constantly making it better. And I'm still doing so even these days so that my students will continue to have the best chance of passing their IELTS writing. Regarding the essay templates mentioned here, the long 50 plus page version is for my IELTS students, not my PTE students. For the IELTS exam, the essay is more complicated and there's a greater variety of essay questions in IELTS as compared to the types of essay questions in PTE. So what my PTE students get will be a shorter but more straightforward version of the essay templates. Next, if you attend my classes, I will give you a lot of homework to do. You can't just attend my 4 Saturday classes and think that you'll be ready immediately to take the exam. Most of my students are young adults, and I'm not going to babysit them as if they were a kid. So I'll provide you the homework and encourage you to do it, but you have to be disciplined enough to do your homework. And I give you a lot of homework because you need to apply what I teach in class in order to improve. Now, I can't guarantee that you'll pass PTE if you attend my class. It's not being honest if I were to guarantee you a pass. Don't believe anybody who tells you that. Don't believe any school that tells you that. I know my materials and teachings and notes and the homework I give you will help you improve a lot, but you're still ultimately responsible for doing your homework. So beyond my PTE classes, you would need to do around 40 to 100 hours of homework. Don't worry, you don't have to do it during the 4 weeks that you attend my class. Most students do a lot of homework even after my 4 classes end. And that's fine. There's around 15 plus hours of additional video teachings to go through, and you'll spend at least 20 plus hours doing actual exercises. The homework covers speaking, writing, reading, and listening, and also grammar and vocabulary. Now, it's really up to you how much you want to do. The more you do, the more you'll improve. It's as simple as that. You reap what you sow. Remember, these are just as important as the Saturday classes. One more very important thing here. A lot of the homework touches on grammar and vocabulary. This is very important for all the 4 skills of PTE, but especially for writing and speaking. My grammar and vocabulary teachings are the most challenging part of my classes. Yet, it's probably also the teaching I'm most proud of, along with the essay templates. It's by far the most rewarding long-term for my students, as you'll carry what you've learned forever, way beyond your PTE exam and when you're in Australia or Canada or the UK or wherever you want to go to. If you register for my PTE class, you'll also get access to my PTE web application. And this is a web application that will simulate what you're going to experience in the actual PTE exam. There are over 550 tasks presently there for you to do. Now, I want to be clear, this isn't just about doing mock or practice tests. Doing mock tests won't help you improve. I teach in my class a very unique strategy of how to use mock tests to help you actually improve. I'll get more into this later in the video, but this is one of the most valuable resources that is part of my PTE classes, and it'll help you apply what I've taught you in class and improve in your listening, reading, writing, and speaking. Next, as part of my PTE class package, you'll also be able to attend unlimited fortnightly live Zoom support class. These will be live on Zoom and will be 2 hours on a weekday evening. You'll be able to attend this after you finish your face-to-face classes. And you can attend it as much as you want until you pass your PTE exam. Please take note that these Zoom classes are not where the most important teachings are taught. The most important teachings are taught in the face-to-face classes and the hundreds of pages of notes and materials, and in the additional video teachings and homework exercises. The Zoom support classes are for support. Firstly, if you have any questions about my teachings, come and ask me there. Secondly, you can bring your writing to be corrected live on Zoom, and normally I will also give an essay that you can write during this time, and then I'll correct your essay live. Lastly, you'll have my WhatsApp number to ask me any question anytime. Yes, you can ask me any question even after the face-to-face class ends. I don't know any other teacher who gives out his or her contact number, but I've been doing that for the past 10 plus years. So let me recap everything you're going to get as part of my PTE exam preparation class package. 4 face-to-face classes on Saturdays from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. My intake is only once every 2 or 3 months, so contact me to find out when the next intake will be. The class addresses all 20 PTE tasks and all 4 components of the PTE exam: speaking, writing, reading, and listening. It's for academic or core, general, and it's also for UKVI and non-UKVI PTE. There's free makeup classes if you last minute can't attend your class. There are over 250 pages of very detailed notes given, including my famous writing essay templates. There's 40 to 100 hours of homework that includes 15 plus hours of additional video teachings and 20 plus hours of exercises. This addresses speaking, writing, reading and listening, and also grammar and vocabulary. You have access to my IELTS web application with over 550 tasks to do. You have unlimited fortnightly live Zoom support classes, so you can ask me any question and get your writing corrected. And you have my WhatsApp number to ask me any question anytime. So what's the cost of all this? The normal price is 800 Singapore dollars, but I always offer an early bird discounted price of 550 Singapore dollars, but only for those who register early. I give a limited number of students the early bird discount, and once it's all taken, then the cost is 800 Singapore dollars. If you're interested, I would encourage you to register early so you have a better chance of getting one of the early bird discounted slots. Now let me do a calculation for you so you can compare the cost of my PTE classes with others in Singapore. Firstly, my PTE class package consists of 16 hours of face-to-face classes and 15 hours of additional video teachings. That's 31 hours in total. Actually, it's more than 31 hours because you can attend 2 hours of my live Zoom support every fortnight, and this is unlimited until you pass. So that's a lot of hours, and I'm not even including that here. So let's just put it at 31 hours for the normal price of 800 Singapore dollars. Okay, if you take that and divide it by 31 hours, and that's about 27 Singapore dollars per hour. For the early bird discounted price of 550 Singapore dollars, if you take that and divide it by 31 hours, that's 17 Singapore dollars per hour. Let's compare the costs of my PTE class per hour versus the cost of other PTE classes in Singapore. The funny thing is that this table was done for my IELTS class, comparing the price per hour of my IELTS class with that of other IELTS classes in Singapore. When I recently tried to do a table for my PTE classes, I realized there weren't many other PTE preparation classes in Singapore. In fact, all I could find was one other. I only found one other school in Singapore offering PTE exam preparation classes, and the cost per hour for that school is 30 Singapore dollars per hour compared to 17 Singapore dollars per hour for my class if you get the early bird discount. However, if you were to ask me, I don't think that the cost ought to be the primary consideration when deciding which PTE class to take. I'm going to touch much more on this later on in this video when I talk about what makes my PTE classes different from the other PTE classes. But for now, I think you also have to consider the following more important factors. 1. Do you get the teacher's WhatsApp number to ask any questions even after your PTE class finishes? 2. Do you get unlimited live Zoom support classes after your PTE class ends? 3. Do you get access to a PTE web application to help you with your PTE practice? 4. Are there hundreds of true student testimonials on their websites? 5. Do you get essay templates that would help you tremendously in your PTE writing? Okay. I think the answer for probably all of these questions, for probably all the other PTE schools in Singapore, is no. But please feel free also to do your own research. Now, in this last section, I want to talk about what makes my PTE classes so different from other PTE classes in Singapore. If you're considering attending my PTE class or thinking about whether you should attend my PTE class or another PTE class, then do go through this part so that you'll be able to make the most informed decision for yourself. The first thing that makes my PTE class different is the proven results. To me, the most important thing to consider, because teachers should be in the business of helping students pass their PTE exam, is the results of their students. What kind of results has this or that PTE class produced? So I would encourage you to go to these web pages, pteuniversity.com/student-results or ieltsuniversity.com/writing-improvement to read more about how my class has helped my ex-students pass their IELTS and PTE exams. The second difference is my experience as a PTE teacher. I have specialized in IELTS preparation for more than 10 years and PTE preparation for more than 5 years. Because I've specialized in IELTS preparation for 10 years and PTE preparation for 5 years, I've been able to bring the best of my experiences of teaching both exams to my PTE preparation class. My many years of specialization in teaching both exams have also enabled me to create better PTE and IELTS teaching materials and strategies. Before you decide which PTE class to take, it's important to find out the experience of your teacher. Most schools will just hire a teacher who has very little experience in teaching PTE and very little incentive to create better PTE teaching materials. Which brings me to the third reason why my PTE classes are so different, my unique teaching materials. Because I've specialized in IELTS and PTE preparation for over a decade, I've been able to focus on creating very unique teaching materials. My material are my own. I don't use textbooks you can find in a bookstore. I've created all my materials from my own experience. I'm especially proud of my IELTS and PTE Writing Essay Templates that have helped so many of my students. One thing I'm a huge believer in is that I want my students to work smart, not just hard. In fact, I provide materials that would help them to work smart. My materials are all about making sure my students work smart, especially my essay templates. Now, don't get me wrong, hard work is super important. In fact, I push my students to work very hard. They have 40 to 100 hours of homework to do. There's no way anybody can do well and improve their PTE level without hard work. There's no such thing as a free lunch in life. You reap what you sow. Having said that, I'm also a huge believer in working smart or smart work. The reason my materials are so effective is that they are based on smart work. So what do I mean by smart work? In this picture, you see people working hard to push a rectangular object. One person has an idea to make the movement of the object much faster. He cuts the rectangular object so it's now spherical in shape. When he was using the knife to cut the object down, obviously it would have taken some time and he would have been behind the rest in the race. But the result is that his object now moves much faster than the others and he's now ahead of the rest. So working smart means finding effective and efficient ways to achieve a goal, and this often involves coming up with a creative strategy. My teaching materials, especially writing, are based on a philosophy of working smart, not just working hard. The writing essay templates I give my students are a result of hundreds of hours of my creative work. It's an example of working smart. Using my essay templates is smart work. That's why it's been able to help my students do well in their IELTS and PTE writing. But don't forget, it's not either hard or smart work. It's both. Combine both of them, and that's where you will get true success. Use smart work strategies like the essay templates and mix that in with hard work, and you'll stand a much better chance of passing your PTE exam. In my class, you'll also learn a very important method to improve that I call the TALI method, testing and learning improving method. This is a very important and unique part of my IELTS and PTE classes. I came up with this method through my own discovery when I was learning Spanish. It's something that almost all my students would say has really changed their understanding as it relates to preparing for the IELTS or PTE exam. Another very important and unique aspect of my class is the teachings on grammar and vocabulary. It's very in-depth and part of the many hours of homework I give my students. Not many PTE classes would spend much time on grammar and vocabulary because it's very difficult to teach. But I place a priority on this because it's important if you want to do well in PTE. The fourth thing that sets my PTE classes apart from many other PTE classes is the fact that my class focuses on teaching and not testing. I don't get my students to do mock or practice tests during class time. I know many schools do a lot of mock tests during class time. This is really just testing you, not actually teaching you anything. Two reasons why I don't get students to do mock tests during class time. One, waste of time, money if done in class. I get students to do it at home during their own time and also get them to use a better method, my Tally method, which I mentioned before. 2. Doing mock tests doesn't actually help you improve. That's why so many people fail their PTE exam over and over again. Let me explain why doing mock tests is the wrong way to prepare for the PTE exam. This is very important. Firstly, did you know that an estimated 60% to 80% of students fail their PTE and IELTS exam on their first try? And not just on their first try, but over and over again many times. I get WhatsApp messages like these every week, people failing 1, 2, 5 times, and these people have wasted a lot of money. But why do so many people fail PTE and IELTS not just on their first try, but over and over again? The reason is that most people prepare wrongly. They spend most of their preparation time doing PTE or IELTS practice or mock tests. Many people think that doing PTE mock tests over and over again will prepare them for the exam. What they do is they take the test under exam conditions at home and use no other outside material to help them, because that's what it's going to be like in the actual exam. Basically, they are taking a PTE test, but at home under test conditions. This is what I call testing yourself. So this is what people normally do. They take the PTE practice test under exam conditions at home, then they check the official answers, then they repeat this process over and over again till they feel prepared. They go through all the PTE practice tests. Their expectation is that their PTE score will improve the more practice tests they complete. But the actual reality is that their PTE score doesn't improve by much at all, even though they do a lot of practice tests. Why is that so? Well, what's the definition of tests? It's a set of activities to measure someone's skill, ability of knowledge. You see, you take a test to measure your level, not to improve your level. You may improve a bit, but not much. Why don't you improve much? Because during a test, there's a time limit and there are no outside materials that you can use. It's just you and your test materials without anything or anyone to help you improve. And that's the problem. These are not conditions that facilitate improvement. Imagine your mind is a glass. Something needs to be added to you, your mind, for you to improve. All these are not automatically added to you in your mind when you take a practice test. Improvement takes a lot of time, and improvement requires outside materials. You need to work on skills, grammar, vocabulary, cohesion, strategies, etc. This is how your listening, reading, writing, and speaking improve. Something needs to be added to your mind. You need to learn. You don't learn when taking a test under exam conditions. That's testing, not improving. So Jonathan, are you saying that taking PTE practice tests over and over again is not the best way to prepare for your PTE exam? Then what's the best way? The way to prepare properly for your PTE exam or any language exam is through addressing 3 important areas. 1, test format. 2, test strategies. 3, language improvement. The ideal percentage of time you should spend across different areas in your PTE preparation is shown here in this table. Let's take a look at the self-preparation column. Most people who prepare by themselves focus on doing mock tests and a bit on test strategies. Now, this is totally fine if you're a good native English speaker. Just focus on test format and test strategies as your language is already very good. Now, on to the next column. For most preparation classes, they tend to spend 50% on test format, 40% on test strategies, and very little time on language improvement. Most classes still don't spend much time on grammar and vocabulary because it is very difficult to teach grammar and vocabulary. It's the hardest thing to do. Now, I think that the ideal preparation for most ESL, English as a second language students, would be just 20% on test format, 30% on test strategies, and 50% on language improvement. That means most PTE preparation classes shouldn't be spending so much time on test format because that doesn't help students improve. The focus should be on test strategies and language improvement. What you should take away from all this is this. Don't focus on doing PTE mock tests as it doesn't help you to improve. Don't attend a class where most of what you do is just PTE mock tests. That's a waste of your time and money. Attend a class that teaches you something, not just test you. Attend a class that teaches you exam strategies and also teaches you grammar and vocabulary. The fifth area that makes my PTE classes different from others is in the recommendations my classes have gotten from immigration agencies and ex-students. This is a 145,000 plus member Facebook immigration group that recommends my IELTS classes. Many other immigration agencies recommend my classes. This email says, "We have been sending your materials and recommending you to our clients in the past 2 years." This person said, "My migration agent in KL asked for your contact as one of his clients from JB wants help in IELTS." Another email says, "I would like to introduce Mr. Jonathan of IELTS University. He will be of great help to you as per feedback from previous clients who attended his course, including myself." And another email reads, "I have given your contact number to 7 prospective and/or existing clients. I will continue to refer individuals who require IELTS coaching." This is one of my ex-students who failed IELTS writing 15 times before coming to my class. He said he sat for IELTS 15 times over the past 2 years. He also attended 3 IELTS workshops and classes, and he said that Jonathan's class is the cheapest I found on the market and the best I have experienced. And yes, immediately after he attended my classes and used my IELTS writing essay templates, he finally got his 7.0. Another ex-student said this: "I wasted so much time and money in other schools and tuition. I had tuition many times with so-and-so. I also went to so-and-so school. Oh, I forgot to mention, I was a so-and-so school student as well, but I don't think that helped me." All useless. You went straight to the point, practical and skillful, but they just wasted my time because they had no techniques. Thanks so much for your real IELTS class. Now, most of these testimonials you see are for my IELTS classes because, as I mentioned before, IELTS is 5 to 10 times more popular than PTE. Therefore, I've always had significantly more IELTS students than PTE students. PTE is still relatively a new exam if you compare it with IELTS. Even in Singapore, there are significantly fewer schools that teach PTE as compared to schools that teach IELTS. The sixth difference is my post-class support that I give my students. Even after your face-to-face PTE class ends, you still have unlimited fortnightly live Zoom support classes, and you have my WhatsApp number to ask me any question anytime. I don't think any other schools offer this. The seventh difference is the cost. I've already shown you the cost per hour of teaching and how it's the cheapest in Singapore. Not that there were many other PTE classes in Singapore. There was only one other. My class costs 17 Singapore dollars per hour if you register early and get the early bird discounted slot, whereas the other class costs 30 Singapore dollars per hour. But let me be honest with you. Cost shouldn't be the most important factor in your decision as to which PTE class to register for. The most important factor should be the quality of the class. What are the results of the students? What's the experience of the teacher? What's the quality of the teaching and teaching materials? I don't think there's any other cheaper PTE class in Singapore, but even if there is, there's no point paying for a cheap class but then losing so much more money because you weren't properly prepared and you failed your PTE exam over and over again. In the end, you're going to waste more money and more time than if you were to attend a good PTE class and have a higher chance of passing. Each PTE exam costs about 400 Singapore dollars. That's a lot of money, but I'll tell you something more important than money. It's time. Time is something you can never get back, so don't waste your time. But there's something even more important than time, your emotions. I've seen so many people fail over and over again because they did not prepare properly. The end result? Discouragement and lack of motivation, and even giving up their dreams of immigration or further studies. So make sure you make the right decision when considering how to prepare for your PTE exam. So let me end here. If you're interested in my PTE classes, you can WhatsApp me at +65 85 26 9321. Remember that I only have PTE classes every 2 or 3 months. While I teach IELTS every Sunday, my PTE class intake only occurs once every 2 or 3 months. So it's important for you to plan early and not last minute so you can be prepared to enter on the next PTE intake. So if you want to know when my next class intake is and whether the early bird discount is still available, just WhatsApp me. Also, if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. Thanks.